Hello, my name is Stephanie Toman, and this video today on Basic Word is going to look at SmartArt, graphics and tables. So everything that you're going to cover is on the slide. Thank you.
SmartArt objects are available in the Insert tab just within the illustrations, so just located next to pictures, shapes, and SmartArt is just there as well. To demonstrate this, I'm just going to open a new document because it is a large object. And the first thing you have to remember is when we're using a SmartArt object and we want to insert one, we have to ensure that we're placing the cursor in the position we want it to go to. So this is a blank canvas. We can just and be aware that it's going to be going there. So we're going to click Insert and we're going to click SmartArt, and what we have is we have a host of options that are available to us. So process, SmartArt, graphics. For example, we have pyramids, relationships, cycles. The only one we want to be concentrating on is the hierarchy organization chart. So we click hierarchy, and then we click organization chart, and then we click OK. And this is a really cool feature that allows you to scope a organization, so the positions, the individuals that are in it, and the layers and the levels that they work on. So when you do insert it, it always defaults with a head of the organization, and it has an assistant, and you have 3 individuals underneath just here. What to remember as well though is that if we was to click out the SmartArt object, you will see none of these here control the SmartArt object. If I was to left click just anywhere in the just here, you'll see your design and your format for SmartArt tools is available to you. As it's been selected, these control this here. So we can left click in here, in any of them, and we can start putting a Smith head, and we could have J blogs as I don't know, team leader 1, for example. If we want to get rid of a person or a text box within the organization chart, what we can do is we can left click any outside so that only that one has been selected just there, and straightforward we can just press the delete key and it's gone for us. If we wanted to add an individual to the organization, if we want to place someone underneath, you'll see here we've got the head, which is A Smith, the head. We're going to left click, and in the design area to the left hand side, we're going to add shape, and we go to add shape below, and there you are, it's added it underneath. You may be thinking, why is it not added it above this here? What this is this is an assistant object because it's pointing away in between. So if I was to remove this object, we would have the head and we'd have the objects underneath. If I was to left click the head, and if I was to go back to add shapes and add assistant, you'd have the assistant just there for you as well. So just to keep in mind that that is an assistant and that is a normal shape as well. You do also have the format options, so if you were to select the head one just here, or it could be any of them, in fact we'll do this one. We can do a shape fill, so you can have different colors, and we can also do a shape outline, very similar to what we were demonstrating with the shapes and the pictures on the previous video. So same sort of principle, and you can also start typing in G Henry, so another individual goes in there as well. So that's SmartArt objects. So let's go back into our Word demo. Next bit we're going to be looking at is tables. Tables is a really good feature in Word. It allows us to get a set of figures, objects, and describe it more clearly so the individuals that are reading it can see the data straight away without breaking it down through the paragraphs that would normally be on a normal Word document. To create a table, first of all, we want to know where the table is going. So we place our cursor into position, and then we go to table. And what we have is we have this grid just here, which allows us to decide how many rows we want and how many columns we want. And the maximum it go to is 10 by 8. What I would recommend though, if for your test, is using the insert table option underneath. And the reason why is because your question will be asking you to do a specific row in a specific column. And even though you may be comfortable and confident just select them just there, by all means, if you do feel it is correct, that's great. But for me, I'm a bit more, I want to be a bit more assured that I'm doing it right. So I'm going to click insert table, and it will say to there how many columns I want and how many rows. So if the question says 6 rows and 4 columns, and I click OK. There we are, everyone. It's created it just there for us. So that's our table available. Let's get rid of that. What you'll notice just underneath here, I've got an example. So there's a table here with 4 columns and 3 rows with some data in there. At the moment, none of these control this table. If I was to left click into any of the cells in the table, keep an eye just next to the developer, and you'll see the table tools, design and layout as showed on the screen for us. These control specific certain areas in the table. First one we're going to look at is layout. Layout allows us to insert rows, columns, and also delete rows and columns as well. For example, I want to put a new column just to the right of Coventry. So I'll place my cursor just here, or I can select all the cells just there, and I can insert to the right. Or if I wanted to insert a row, I could insert the row underneath. You also don't need to highlight. I just use that as an example. You could just put a cursor there, and then you can just start inserting as we want as well, which is really handy. Or if we want to delete a row, we could select, go to delete, delete rows. Or if we wanted to delete the whole table, we could select, by selecting the box just at the top left hand corner, to select all cells, layout, delete table. One other point that a lot of people do sometimes find a bit difficult is selecting rows and columns in a table. As I was demonstrating, you can hold your left mouse button down on the first cell in a row and drag, or the top column and drag down there. But there's an easier way of doing it. If you place your mouse pointer just to the left of the row, it does it automatically. And it also is the same way with a column as well. Just get just up before it, and then you can left click there. Quite straightforward and really quick to do. In the layout tab, you can also alter and change the width and the height of cells and rows and columns in your table. Let's take this one here, for example, this row. Go to layout, let's change the width here, and you'll see I'm changing the width, but it'll only change if it's been selected, so just be aware that you must ensure that what you're changing is selected. Let's change the height of a row, select all those cells, and there we are, making it much more bigger for us to insert more text if needed. Let's pull it back to normal. In the design tab, we can also apply shading to cells, so we're going to select the first ones on the top row. Let's apply blue, and we can also change the border in a table too. So what we do is we need to select the table in question. So you can select just there by all the cells. We can go to borders, not borders in home, borders in the design tab for table tools, borders and shading, and it works the same way as it would do with normal text in the document, but the difference is that you have the outside border of a table, but you also have the borders inside the table as well. So I'm going to ensure that we're doing all the borders. I'm going to change the color to a green sort of color, and I'm going to make it a bit more wider, the width. Keep in mind as well, as I did state previously on the previous videos, whatever a question is asking you the specific size or the specific color, please ensure that you do select the ones that it's asking you. Do not lose points on areas that you know that you're confident with, but it's because of a selection phase that you're missing out on. So click OK, and there we are, everyone. We've got our table borders, and if we wanted to adjust, if we're not too satisfied with that, we can go back in once again, select borders, borders and shading, and we can just change our color. Get one a bit more stronger, make it a bit more smaller, the width, or we could even add some style as well, make it a bit more appealing to the eye, and there we are. All available to you in design and layout. Just keep in mind that you don't get struggle in your test that if you're trying to change something in your table and you're looking here, the reason why you can't find anything to change it is because you haven't selected inside the cell or the table that you're wanting to bring up your table tools.